You're alive and shattered. Today's the day I shine. So I dream someone who'd fly. For a moment I could touch the sky. Lifted from these feelings I could fly. When life again comes around and drags me down, I reach for my pencil and turn it around. I am the phoenix. I was born in flame and ashes. I will rebuild the world that everyone else trashes. You have the matches, you have the flame. You can light my world on fire, but watch me rise again. I will rebuild the world that everyone else trashes. You have the matches, you have the flame. You can light my world on fire, but watch me rise again. Watch me rise Let me warn you, the pain is nothing new. Yes, you can hurt me, but you're not the only one. No, you're not the only one. There's nothing you can do that hasn't already been done. Created the game, you made the rules. I played my part, but I refuse to stay the fool. You can break my heart, but you can't break me. I'm rising up, I'm reaching out, I'm soaring free. I'm soaring free. I am the phoenix, rising up. Light this world on fire, but I will rise again. I am the phoenix, watch me rise again. for something new. I know what I've got to do. Goodbye, devil's kiss. Goodbye, fire kiss. Heartbreaks I won't miss. I know what I've got to do. Goodbye, devil's kiss. Goodbye, fire kiss. Goodbye, devil's kiss. Goodbye.
Alrighty then, it is time to get on with the show. Now, I have had a special request that I'm going to indulge for just a moment to show my face on cam. Ta-da! Hi, everybody. You can see the beautiful flowers. Oh, they're in bloom. Obi got me these Thursday, as a matter of fact. You can see the lilies in bloom. So pretty. Our rose is tucked in there, nice and sweet. Very pretty, pretty. Makes it all worth some of the rough stuff. Haven't been feeling all that great today. I didn't get much sleep, but alright, so now you've seen the face. And now it's time to get back to the real show, which is our art. But thank you for the request. I always love to try and do what we can. Oh, let's see. Ooh, okay. Well, baby, hopefully you'll get that figured out. Now, when we left off of our drawing, they are gorgeous, aren't they? He picked the best bouquet ever. Now, he doesn't buy flowers for me all that often. It used to be a real point of contention for us, but I choose not to let it be anymore. So, but now, he's twice, since we've moved here to Morris, bought them of his own volition. Yes, I love flowers. Loves me some flowers. Okay, now one thing I want to say is that I did, and this happens from time to time, make a flub on our little river of toxic goo. And this is an artistic flub that I, of all people, should know better. I forgot, I should say, to take into account the vanishing point. When you are drawing, there is always a point in the horizon where things appear to disappear. Need to actually change that. So, there's a point where the eye stops. Would you knock that off? I don't want you changing the whole thing all at once. Alright. It just seems to want to do that. Okay. Maybe if I go ahead and warp. Oh, skew, probably. Okay. Now it should, in theory, allow me to do what I want to do, which is bring it down to the actual horizon line and get it in gear the way it should be, so that the flow of the stream does what it's supposed to, which is vanish at a certain point in the horizon. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. And we'll do that with the other sidewalk too. We gotta make sure that it vanishes at the correct point. Shame on me for not taking that into account. Boop. Always remember your perspective and proportions if you want to produce decent results. Otherwise, it ends up looking like a hot mess and like an amateur did it. Which, hey, technically, I've been paid for art, so I'm not an amateur anymore and should stop behaving like one. Oh, yeah. Plus, we should line up the perspective with that building over there. What we're gonna do, take that out. The angles should match as much as you can. There we go. That's good. Much better. All right, now we need to move the sidewalk to match it. Ha! Apparently I can't spell. Toxic sludge. Alright, now where's our sidewalk? There we go. Let's bring our sidewalk down to the layer right above, and we'll move it into perspective too. Because after all, we want to make sure it looks just as good as the other. Yes, Ubi's job is actually very important. Important? Easy for me to say. In a small town, people literally live and die by their radio. If the signal's not coming through, it's not just a minor annoyance. It is a major deal. And so him being who he is, he has to go take care of that so that people can get the signal that they need. Keeps them out of harm's way, makes sure that they have alerts when they need them. Alright. Now we need to move that sidewalk over there so that it looks like it's in the right. We may just redo that. Now that we've got proper perspective on a little stream, let's redo that sidewalk because it's a hot garbage mess. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Timmy. You got a lot going on, my man. I am not going to hold it against you if you can't make every stream. Or even one stream. I mean, seriously. The fact that you're here, I just value it because it tells me that you're still alive and kicking, which I personally value. Because you're a friend of mine and I absolutely care that you are alive and kicking in here to tell us the story. Right? That's the most important thing to me. Okay. We need to relabel that. It's our sidewalk. Stop your notifications. That's so annoying. When your computer starts just filling up your screen with all this garbage you don't need. Gotta have a bigger brush stroke. Oh, and the opacity has to be turned up. That was part of my problem. I was thinking to myself, why is it not behaving? And that is why. Because I was not giving it the clues and the signals it needed to behave the way I wanted it to. Sometimes it does come down to user error, folks. It's not always the computer's fault. I am doing good. How about you? I know you said you had been in pain today. It's been kind of a crying day for you, and I'm sorry to hear that because I know those days are rough, but at least you have a place you can come here and know you are loved and know that no matter what you're going through today, we're going to be with you in it. We may not be able to fix it for you, but we can certainly love you in the middle of it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Yeah, we've all been there on days when things just feel so hard and so heavy, and it seems just like we don't have enough strength. But you know what? Jesus is with us even in those moments. He gives us the strength we need even when we don't have the strength. And I know that although it may not seem like it at this point in time, you are going to be blessed for having gone through all this. That there is a big, great big blessing in the middle of all the hardship. And it may take a while for that blessing to manifest itself, and it may take a while for you to understand what it is God's doing in your life right now. But I do promise you, that blessing is there, waiting to be uncovered. See, this is how God works. He wraps his greatest gifts to us in some of the ugliest, nastiest wrapping paper possibly imaginable. Hands it to us and says, do you trust me? And how we handle what we're going through is our answer to that question. It's all about trust. All about learning to rely on God, learning that we don't have it all together, that we can't handle it all on our own, and to be okay with that, to accept that we were never meant to handle it on our own. Part of the problem in life is that we get confused by other people who think we're supposed to be able to handle it all on our own, and they make us feel ashamed for not being able to, and then we try to handle it on our own, and we fail, and fail, and fail, and fail. And eventually we just can't take it anymore, and hopefully do the smart thing and call out to the one who's bigger than every problem we've got and who can help us with any problem. And we start to develop a relationship. You know, that's what Job is really about, the story of Job. If you notice, if you read closely, it takes him about 7 chapters before he goes to start talking about talking to God. He doesn't even do it yet. He just starts talking about talking to God. Like wishing that he could ask him directly why he was allowing all this. And then, it's not till chapter 27 that he says, well, if God were here, here's what I would say to him. And I don't think he expects what happens next. Few people do. But God shows up 4 chapters later. It says, oh, you want to put me on trial? You want to cross-examine me? You want to tell me what my job is? Okay, let's go, bro. Let's go. You tell me. You tell me what I'm supposed to do. And he starts pointing out all the things that Job doesn't understand about life, that were put into place long before Job was around, that Job had no input into. And he starts teaching Job his limits. But the whole point of Job was to get Job to the point where they could have that conversation, where Job would talk to God directly. He was a righteous man. He was a good man. He was doing all the right things. But God wanted more. God wanted a real relationship. And so God let him be tested. Yep, I imagine you are ready for surgery to be over. It's always tough. Everything has a purpose, Maya. Everything. The things you're going through right now, they are drawing you into a deeper relationship with God, into a greater reliance on Him. And you're going to come out of this not just with whatever the surgery is designed to do. It's not anything in comparison to the surgery God is performing on your heart right now. Through all the pain that you've been through all the struggle, through all the challenge, through all the difficulty. He's really performing a surgery on your heart that is designed to help make you closer in resemblance to Him, to correct some of the flaws and the problems that you inherited from other people, some of the misbeliefs and the wrong ideas about who you are and what your purpose is and what life's all about. So God has to fix those things first. And that's why you're being allowed to go through all of this mess. It's not because God doesn't care or God wants you to suffer. No. Suffering is something that God allows into our lives when we're not growing in relationship to Him. When we've reached some kind of plateau and we're a little too comfortable, because the most dangerous place for a human being is in our comfort zone. And so God comes in, says, okay, you're not growing. Time to kick in a little suffering, because suffering adds the pressure. We need to start seeking answers to questions. And then we start looking around and we start trying to figure out what the problem is. And we always end up having to grow in order to move out of the suffering and back into a better place in reality. It's hard. It's not called suffering for nothing. It's not exactly a fun experience and nobody wants it. But it's always for our ultimate good. Never for our harm. And it's never without purpose. God never allows anything into our lives that isn't serving a greater purpose for our good and His glory. So even when it feels like there's no point to it, there truly, truly is. Oh, I don't doubt that. Yes, it's true. God gives every single day. He gives us the graces we need to deal with whatever's coming our way, but whether we receive those graces is all up to us. Do we trust that they are graces? Do we believe that He's working for our good? Or do we assume that He's trying to hurt us, or that He doesn't care? Those are the two states that can lead us to miss out on the blessing He wants to give us through whatever situation we've encountered. And I don't say this as somebody who hasn't been through a lot of suffering. I have undergone a lot of suffering in my life. Some of it, much of it, self-induced, but nonetheless, a lot of it. And through that suffering, God has taught me so much about Him and about our relationship and what He wants and what He doesn't want. And He's all about love. He's all about helping us to grow in our capacity to give and to receive love. That's the most important thing to Him. Because love is His purpose. Love is what He is. It's what He does. I mean, and it's not even love like we understand it. What we understand as love is like this mere pale reflection of what love in His context actually means and actually is. And if we understood for 1 second the full nature of the love that He has for us, we would die of happiness on the spot. Die. Just, it would overload our circuits completely. Our little bodies cannot handle that kind of sheer bliss. We are not prepared. And, but it really is true that everything He does for love of us. There is absolutely nothing done to harm us. Yes, it may hurt, but it's kind of like the scalpel, the surgeon's scalpel, right? The surgeon isn't wielding the scalpel to hurt you. Yes, it may hurt, but that's not the purpose of the scalpel. The purpose of the scalpel is to cut away whatever it is that's stopping you from living your best life, from being your most healthy. And that's how God does things too. He doesn't want us to settle for bare minimum of living, or existing rather. He wants us to thrive. And so He cuts away whatever is in our way. And it's always painful because we usually think we need that. So we're mad at Him. He's like, why are you taking that away from me? He's like, 'cause it's not good for you. It's not what you really need. But we don't know that. So we think He's just being mean. Because that's how it feels. So we get to complaining, grousing, grumbling. We human beings are such funny creatures. But God's plans are always what is best for us. He always, always, always intends the best for us. Even when it doesn't feel like it or look like it. That's the hard part to remember. Especially when you're knee deep in the suffering part of it. And nothing feels like it's for your good. Everything just feels like it's pain, pain, pain with no end. And that's when it's important to remember that God does love us. The love he has for us is beyond measure, beyond our capacity to even comprehend. Because we love imperfectly. We love with finite knowledge and wisdom and understanding. And so even when we love at our best and fullest capacity, it's still just a small fraction of a reflection of God's love for us. But his love is perfect love, without end, without hesitation. It's what enables him to do what he does, which is forgive us endlessly for all the things we do to him. Yes, all trials and tribulations designed to help us grow, but nevertheless, not to dismiss the amount of pain that those trials and tribulations cause, because that pain is very real. It really does hurt. It's no joke. It's not like you just get to dismiss that as no big deal. And I think that's the mistake some people make, is that, when they're trying to make you feel better, it can sound like they're dismissing the pain you're in. And I've been there, not understanding somebody else's pain and just telling them to feel better or look on the bright side or, some other thing. And really, that's not what they need in the moment. They don't need to be told to look on the bright side. Sometimes they can't even see a bright side. If you're in the hole, deep enough in the negatives, you won't be able to see a bright side. Because you're on the negative side of the equation and all you can see are the negatives. It's not until you get to the point where you can reach the 0 point, where the possibilities become available, you can actually see the bright side. And that's a mathematical analogy, but it's an absolute truth too. Oh, yeah, that's looking a lot better. Yeah. Sometimes we have to struggle too and suffer a little bit, so we develop compassion for those around us who are going through the tough things, and so we can be a better advocate for them rather than an adversary to them. It's easy to judge somebody when you don't know what they're going through, but once you've walked a mile or two in their shoes and you understand, then you can be a useful instrument in helping them get through the difficulty they're going through. Yeah. Depression is definitely a real thing. When we're going through it, it can feel impossible to escape from. But really, what we need to realize is that depression is less of an emotion and more of a signal that the brain's giving us that it can't handle the traumatic event that happened, and it doesn't know what to do with all the emotions that it's inspiring, and it needs our help finding a way to process that in a healthy way. And that may be talking to somebody, or it may be, praying over it and asking God to help us see what he needs to see to get for us to get where we need to be. There are any number of possibilities for what God wants to do with depression. You just have to be willing to listen and open up and accept that this point may be, well, first of all, that it's beyond our capacity to solve on our own. Second, that it is serving a real purpose and a real function, even if we don't understand what that purpose and function is. And then to be patient, because God doesn't always work things out in the timing that we would like. He tends to have his own timing. But yeah, not to put the blame on ourselves. I think that's one problem that we tend to have in our society, is that we tend to blame people facing depression for being depressed. And I don't think that's a helpful response. I don't think that's a useful response. I think it can leave people stuck in depression rather than being able to get out of it, because they think that nobody really understands, and that nobody's going to care about what they're going through. I think there's a lot of things we could do better. And I'm speaking as someone who has loved someone who struggled with depression for a long, long time. So I'm not outside of the matrix, so to speak. I'm right, having arrived at the conclusions I have based on time and experience and a lot of prayer. I think we need to be a little gentler with each other, a little less quick to judge what somebody else is going through. Oh, perfect. And now that allows us to do something. Now that we've resided the sidewalks, it allows us to bring back our bridge to where it actually was originally, because now it fits. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to transform it and scale it back to where it was. Because I liked it where it was. It wasn't fitting what I wanted to do with the river. Yeah, I'm learning to be a much more compassionate person, much more understanding person, much less quick to think I have it all figured out. Oh, and that leads to being more patient with people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a scene. What do we want to work on next? We can work on the left side, the right side, the sides, the subway system. You guys can pick what we're going to work on. Where do we want to work? Here we go. Here's our options. Then pick a place and let's get started. That river does look much better. Much, much better. Much, much better. Looks like it belongs there instead of it's cascading off of the canvas, which makes me happy. Got one vote for the apartment with the person. Let's see what else. See who else wants to vote. Do 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 do. I will give you another minute. It is 7 o'clock. We will start at 7:01 on whatever has been chosen. Ooh, the subway. Now we got a 50-50. All right. 2 votes in, 50-50. We may work on both if we can. One more vote. And then we'll get started. All right. Boom, ba-dum, boom, 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 boom. All right, I'll give you one more minute. It'll be 7:02. I'm just being a little silly tonight. Nothing too serious. Nothing too serious. Oh, there it is. The third vote. I think. No, I thought I saw one. Oh well. All right, it is 7:02. We will work on the apartment building first because that was the first vote that came in. And if we have time, we will work on the subway system. I'm thinking that this apartment building is kind of older. And maybe a little run down. Maybe an industrial style apartment building. Like the remnant of something that once was pretty solid. So we'll mark that there. Oop. Oh, I should really put it on its own layer. I should be good about that. Always, always remember layers, layers, layers. It's the artist's best friend. Art and building. Alright, now to get going. What do you guys think? Concrete, steel, brick? What are we looking at here? I'm leaning toward brick, but I'm open to options. After all, this doesn't have to be brick. It could be rust. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking brick. Oh, no worries, Timmy. You don't owe me any apologize, brother. Apologize. Apologies. Jeez, I can talk. I really can. I understand about pain. You know what? I think I'll just do this. Give it a direct rundown. Perfect triangle. Right triangle with that. Fill that in with the red brick. We can always cut out what we don't need. We want to add some grease and grime and grossness to it. We will. Alright. So that's the top of the building right there. What we're going to do is we're going to take the underside of the bridge, of the balcony layer, and we're going to detail that first. And then I'll come back and lay over the balcony over the top of that. We don't want this to be perfectly white. After all, it's kind of a greasy, grimy, and late at night, so... Blah, blah, blah. Get off my thing. Come on. There we go. Alright. Oh, no, I don't want you to turn on sticky keys. And let's bump that up a little bit lighter. Yeah. I guess actually, yeah, that's true. Hug building background. We'll build that in layers too, so if I make a mistake, I can fix it easier. Oh no, there was an ubi that snuck in here. You don't like the meds and they don't help much, but they conk you out. Hey, Tom, yes, it is a drive-by. Hello, thank you. Keep doing that. I need to put that on its own layer, and I remember that, and then I forget that, and then I don't do that. There we go. Bricks. Blah, blah, blah. Don't mind me, I'm just a little bit crazy. We're going to have a lot going on this week in town because it is Stevens County Fair week. And that means all heck breaks loose in this little place. And everybody and their dog is out doing things. Should be amusing and entertaining. It's the first time I've had an experience of it, so we'll see how it goes. We'll talk about it on Thursday. Now we get to put the little brick caps on. With brick, though, it's not like necessarily uniform. Boop, boop. Okay, that's fine this time. My hard drive sounds so crunchy right now. A little bit concerned about it. I think it's trying to go on me. Can't blame it. It's a 6-year-old baby. And I have put it through heck, that is for sure. The soft brush is not quite right. Let's bump it up to a harder line. Maybe a little bit smaller size, so it looks more distinct. Less fuzzy. Case of the dying hard drive, news at 11. Not like there aren't, like, worse things in the world going on. Like, for instance, if you're in Colombia right now, you're probably not feeling very happy with life. We should all be grateful. Hey, it's Malachi. How's it going, bud? How is it going? Plop that there. Boop. Give it a little bit of a ledge. A slightly lighter color, maybe. How's life for you, Malachi? How are things going? Today, tomorrow. You can finally see what's good in you. Do it all. There was a song way back in the day when Randy and I were younger, much younger. I'm not going to tell you how much younger. That would be a little deceptive. but when we were younger, and he loved it. It was Blue October was the name of the band. And I'm not the kind of person who usually remembers band names. Like, that is like totally not my thing. Randy's usually the one who can tell you the band, the album, and every detail about it. But in this case, they had a song that he enjoyed listening to. I think it just encapsulated how he felt about himself. And Hate You, I think is the name of it. It was, it was basically somebody clearly struggling with depression, and I think it encapsulated how he felt, which is why I liked it. And I kind of wrote an answer song to it because I wanted him to know it didn't matter what he was going through. I was going to love him no matter where he was at in life. And of course, I didn't do that perfectly, but that's partly because I didn't really understand love perfectly either. The mixed up mania of life. The first lessons I really had in love came from Hollywood fairy tales and romance novels. How's that for an education? Bloop. There we go. Now we have a roof and a building. We probably should distress that building a lot because it's really looking too repaired for this city, but we're gonna put it in its place for now. I'm gonna convert that to a smart object. And I'm gonna bring it up over the top and we'll put some distressing on it. Add some realism. It's on your phone, it's hard to tag. Yeah, that happens all the time. I wouldn't worry too much about it. People understand. I'll love you today. I'll love you tomorrow. Love you so you can find, see what's good in you. I need to find the lyrics. It's in my head and I don't know why it's come up, actually. It just happens to be one of those things that sometimes you just remember things at a random moment. And then it starts to become something you gotta go look up and see if you can find. Yes, we are going to put a person on the roof. That person is currently being obstructed by the roof. But let's see. See, that person is right there. We'll come back and we'll put him back on. When we get through distressing the building and making it look more like it belongs in the scene. I don't want things looking too pristine and clean. You forgot to co-stream it. Oh, that's a bummer. And anything too uniform so that it doesn't look like it's intentional. We need to add some shadows so that the roof looks like it is truly standing out there. Now we'll smudge all that down. Blend it in, blend it in. It's like that Glade Freshers used to have that song. Plug it in, plug it in. Well, we're gonna blend it in, blend it in. Our best to make it look like it's actually a real thing. Especially because it's kind of a night scene, so you don't want too much light on it. And we may add a light post just to explain where the light's coming from. Because clearly the moon is not going to be quite enough to give it this bright. You can imagine this is the older section of town, so it's probably a little more run down. Probably the section of town where the poorer side of folk live. If I live, we're talking loosely. That tends to be the way of things. Let's get some of that going. Wrong key. Got a little more time. That's good. I gotta make sure I get some quarters and do some laundry before this week really gets kicked off. So Ubi has everything he needs to handle the life that he has to live this week. It's gonna be really hard on him. If you all guys got some prayers to offer up, please do. Ubi's gonna have a rough time this week. Used to goof around and sing that Glade commercial song. Yeah, it is a pretty funny little ditty. Does tend to stick in your brain. Oh, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. My husband's mother passed away Christmas Eve of 2015, I think so. No, 2016. I have to remember my dates. We were still living down in Dallas, so it would have been 2016. And it was rough. You know, it's a fun, well, not fun, I say fun fact, but there's nothing fun about it, really. But it doesn't matter whether you know it's coming or not. It doesn't matter how prepared you think you are for it. It always takes you by surprise when death comes to someone you care about. That's better. That is our prayer for sure. We will see them again in the after. Alrighty. Now that we've kind of gotten that apartment building in, we can work on our little person. We're going to turn off the apartment building so we can see the little person. And we're going to outline him. So we know how tall he is. And the rough shape. Pardon me, the rough shape. Keeping your eyes peeled for severe winds. Oof. Yikes, my man. Yikes. Hopefully, you will be safe and okay. Alright. What color hair does this little guy have? What are you looking at? Are we looking at a red head, a black head, a blonde head? What do we got going on here? Or maybe some random color. I mean, you can always pick a different one. Just go ahead and type it in chat. If I create a poll, it'll limit our options. So... I almost think we should make something complimentary. Northern Vermont isn't known for tornadoes. Well, yeah, climate change is real, but the cause of it is not ascertained. There are so many variables involved in it that have nothing to do with people on planet Earth. It's a very egocentric thing to assume we are the cause, the end all and the be all of all things. I mean, realistically, there's been massive solar flares, massive, shifting of the Earth's poles is going on right now. That's a fact. There's so much seismic activity, and that's just what we can detect. Well, there's no doubt about that. There is no doubt about that, Malachi. The Lord ain't happy. He is letting us know. He's warned us. But I think it's kind of not even about anger, though, as much as we're not living the purpose we were designed to live. Everything has a purpose. And when we're not doing ours, the rest of the universe gets affected. That's too thin. There we go. Yeah. I mean, we were built to help protect and guard the universe and to guide organisms in figuring out their purpose and living it. And we're definitely not doing that job. We're not even doing that job with each other. These things that we're doing are just offshoots of us going crazy. That's what happens. Of course, that's my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own. I'm not going to say you have to subscribe to my particular way of seeing, thinking, or believing. Because that would be beyond arrogant. It would be assumption that my way is the only way of seeing, believing, or thinking. I do know some things. The amount of things that I know compared to the amount of things that there are to know is laughably small. Pardon me for coughing in your ears. I don't know about that, Malachi. Never tempt God to show you just how much a thing could get worse, because I promise you, you don't want to know. You may have think you've found the limits. You may have think you've experienced the worst of the worst. I promise you, there's always a level you didn't anticipate. Learned a long time ago never to ask questions to which you do not want the answers. And one of those questions you should never ask is, how much worse could it be? God will show you. You will not like the answer. Is this person long-haired, short-haired? We never decided that. Is it a girl or a guy or somewhere in between? Probably drop that down a little bit stylistically. Yes, I guarantee you, somewhere out there, there is someone who does have it worse off than you. And it's always good to be mindful of that fact, even if it's not easy to hear. Well, I'm glad to hear that. But I don't like to cough in people's ears. It's just kind of rude. I mean, it's not that I'm trying to do it deliberately, but it's one of those things. A little more red. Oh, come on. Party in the back is great, man. Who doesn't love a party in the back, right? And all business in the front. Wise words, right? Now let's give it some silver. Since we did want to add that, let's give it some silver. Because that's getting kind of lost in there. We'll do pure white at the top where the moon is actually touching it. Now we have to decide on costume and the angle. Let's see. Hair. Hair today, goon tomorrow. Ha 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 ha. Let's look at what we got going on. View. Fit on screen. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that comes from a Mia Jane moment. Okay, so when she was a little baby, well, maybe about a year and change, we took her to church with us for the first time. And they got through the psalm, which in the Catholic Church, you do the sing and response. And we got through the psalm, and you heard this little voice pipe up in the back. Yeah! She was so adorable. Oh my gosh. So adorable. So inappropriate, but so adorable. What are you going to do? Tell a baby, no, you can't do that? No, you're not going to do that. All the joy. Miss that little girl something terrible. But hoping to get back to her soon. You know what? What color of clothing is this person wearing? maybe silver to match the silver in their hair. Maybe some neon. Decisions. And we got 4 minutes to wrap up. Okay, so we're going to leave it where it's at, actually. We'll come and decide costuming later. We've actually done a lot of work today, even if it doesn't feel like it. We have fixed our river. We have added the apartment building. We need to add some shadows underneath our little figure. That will help with the realism. And some distressing to the roof. So I'm going to add the shadow. The shadow nose. And then some distressing to the roof. I'll blend that in, make it look better. But yeah. I got about 4 minutes before I'm going to close up shop. I'm not sure if Ubi's streaming or not, but if he is, he should be starting soon, and I definitely don't want to interfere with that, because it's really going to be his only chance to stream with you guys this week. Because of the Stephens County Fair, since he works in the radio, he gets to broadcast every single day of it. Which is a joy I do not envy him. It's to pretty much be there from sunup to sundown. It's a pity they don't know about him. He could broadcast from the Stephens County Fair. But yeah. That's true. That's true. Silver clothes. Alrighty. Well, that is going to call it our stream for this evening. Thank you so much for being here with me. I always appreciate your time. I always appreciate your participation. And hopefully you're getting as much of it as I am. So, with all that said, have a great rest of your week. Know that I'll be praying for you every day. Hope y'all get to feeling better. And in the meanwhile, I'll see you Thursday at our usual time.